I'm Waymer.
I'm Lewis.
I'm Steve.
And it's about that time.
Everyone but us. Straight from the heart of London. Fresh for 2024.
Welcome back to the Everyone But Us podcast. Are we ready? Because I am. Let's start by saying, how you been doing, Waymer? How's things?
Yeah, I've been good. How are you? You well? You good?
Tired, mate. I'm always tired.
Why are you tired?
My cat keeps waking me up in the middle of the night. Tired. Scratching at my feet and shit like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I forgot you got a cat now, haven't you?
Yeah, we do have a cat. It's beautiful.
How's it been?
Cleo from Egypt. No, it's been cool. It's been alright. I've never lived with a cat before, so it's been a weird experience, but she's actually really, really sweet. Apart from obviously night times, which are like difficult. But that's all I'm going to say about sleeping at night time. Steve, how you been?
Good. Covered in mosquito bites currently. Got back from Croatia last night. Went to Zadar. Very, very nice place on the coast. But yeah, mosquitoes everywhere. Bitten the shit out of me. I look like a freak.
How comes you went to Croatia?
More like a freak. Thanks.
Yeah, your head is looking like the moon at the moment.
Yeah, it is a little bit. Yeah.
Bumps on it.
Old Olympus Mons up here. Yeah.
Why did you go to Croatia?
We stuck basically I do a pub quiz every Wednesday with family and friends, and we had amassed over the course of about 18 months a decent amount of money, so we decided we were going to go away. We paid for like flights, accommodation, everything out of money. So we thought, fuck it, why not? Let's go.
So that's why you can't do band practice on Wednesdays, because you're winning money to go abroad.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
I respect it.
Priorities.
We have some special guests today. Very special guests, as Wemmer would say. I was going through my list of people who we could interview, and I was going through this long list. It was probably about 3 people. And I thought, actually, I can't remember who I pulled it up with, but I was like thinking, no one's ever done a podcast with these people before, like, or asked questions about what they did and how influential they were on the hardcore scene in the UK, Europe, and pretty much the rest of the world, because a lot of people would still talk about it. A lot of people have a lot of questions about it. So we decided to ask the Ninjafest team if they'd like to come on, and they are here today. So welcome. Welcome to Rachel, Louise and May.
Hiya.
Hi.
Right, so first things first, I'm going to ask you how you got into hardcore, or more generally how you got into like alternative music and this sort of like world we're in. So who wants to go first?
I think it was when I went to university. I was in Portsmouth, and then I spent a year abroad in Germany. And from there, I just kind of got into like a more alternative scene, and I had a lot of friends who were in punk bands and things like that. So we started to go to a lot more shows, and that opened my eyes. And then when I moved back to the UK, I lived in Bedford because I was doing my teaching degree. And from there, weirdly, that's how I ran into May at the Dome, the nightclub. So I would stay at a house in Wimbledon, make the journey home the next day, and it was awful. But I did it every week. And then from there, we started going to festivals together, started going to gigs together, and it just kind of grew from there, I think.
Interesting.
The Dome, man.
What was the name of the club at the Dome?
Madball
Madball at the Dome.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? I never went to that club.
Yeah, you definitely have one.
No, I went to the one on, was it Wardour Street? What was the other one that used to go down the stairs?
Rocket at Borderline.
No, the Wardour Street one was...
St. Moritz.
Yeah, Gossips.
I got bad memories.
Metro. That was round.
The dude with the long hair used to DJ.
Oh, that narrows it down. That definitely.
They all had long hair. Most of them did have long hair.
That might have been R.I.P. Bell, man.
There was a lot of clubs, wasn't
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So Louise, what about yourself? What was your introduction into this thing?
Theft.
Wow, okay.
I feel like I've stolen someone's life, bearing in mind that hardcore has been... I don't listen to much hardcore now, but it's been so important in my life. All of my best mates I met through hardcore. So much of the stuff I've done has been through hardcore. I think being straight edge in your 20s was a really sensible thing to do, you know, in terms of like my career development. I can attribute so much of my life to hardcore, and I feel like I stole someone's life. Okay. So, I mean... I can't stand up on a skateboard, but my brother was wicked. He used to go to Pioneer, which is just down the road from where we're recording. There's a skate park. So like my house was always, he's younger than me, but my house was filled with like 411 videos and, skate videos.
Yeah, 411.
So we kind of was getting into that anyway. Like I remember like being into Madball, sick of it all. And I grew up, I was a teenager in the mid to late 90s. So you had like Shelter and Civ and all of that stuff coming through. And it, Life of Agony, Downset. Right, so I was into it anyway. So I remember my 17th birthday, I had some money. I wanted to go Carnaby Street to go Metalheads to buy something, and my mum took me, and I'm sure she wanted me to go to my mum probably wanted me to go to Miss 60 to buy a nice dress, but I wanted to go Metalheads. And it was a choice between a Sick of It All basketball vest, a Life of Agony hockey top, and a Dog Eat Dog hoodie. Right, and I went for the Dog Eat Dog hoodie. So I'm at college, and this is a forest green Dog Eat Dog hoodie. I wore it to death. I think Swaz has got it now. And there was another kid wearing the exact same Dog Eat Dog hoodie, and he was hot, right? So we sort of clock each other, and we'd never said anything to each other, just, spying each other over the canteen at college. And then one day he finally comes out to me, and here we go. He's going to chat me up. and he's like really shy, and he comes up to me and goes, do you know Becky? I won't say her surname because I stole her life. And like, yeah. And he's like, can you give her this mixtape for me? I really like her. And I like look at this mixtape. It's like Fugazi and like loads of other stuff. I'm like, I'm going to listen to it first. And it was amazing. It had all this really sick shit on it.
Please say you kept the mixtape.
I never gave the tape to Becky.
Oh, good.
Becky.
And then also, I must say, if I'm going to attribute it to one band, Rage Against the Machine. Everyone in the 90s loved Rage Against the Machine. And then I had a boyfriend who worked at HMV, and he brought me, because I liked Quicksand as well. And he's like, the dude from Quicksand and the dude from Rage Against the Machine, they were in like these other bands before, and I got this CD for you. It's called the Rev In-Flight Sampler, and it's got their early bands on it, like a band called Gorilla Biscuits and a band called Inside Out. And I'm like, and that album, I swear, is the most important album in my life, Rev In-Flight Sampler.
Wow, that's amazing.
I love that introduction. That's fucking cool. May.
So, funnily enough, I got into heavier music because of Ali. Ali got the Judgment Night soundtrack.
Just, Ali's her brother.
Ali was my brother.
Sick album.
To this day, I will listen to that to death. But Ali was into hip hop, and he got that album, and there's one line in Judgment Night, the song with Biohazard, where it goes, if it takes the death of me to make history, the whole world will remember my misery. And Ali used to say that all the time, so I started listening to it. I was like, this is actually really good. And then I started to listen to Pearl Jam.
Sorry, what, you should just drop it in good random conversations?
You know Ali.
I know Ali, but I don't know Ali.
No, Ali will send me a text message just with loads and loads of letters in it, and then it'd just be Bone Thugs and Harmony lyrics. And that's the only thing I'll hear in a month. And that'd be it. But
he so I started listening to that, and then everyone knows about I got barred from the Astoria. I started going to gigs and stuff, and in the kind of 90s, we didn't have the internet, so we would get to venues really early. Do you remember this? And we would get to venues about 3:00 in the afternoon, and we would all sit outside and hang out.
Sit on the fountain.
Yeah, exactly. just hanging out, and I made so many friends that way. But at that time, bands were all shows were all intertwined, so loads of hardcore bands would play, Understand from Southend would play with Dog Eat Dog and things like that. So I'd kind of got introduced to it that way, and then I got barred from the Astoria for stage diving because I used to outwit security, and security got really annoyed at me, and I would get on stage and stage dive really badly, and then little Andy said to me, there's a band called Agnostic Front playing, you should go. And I went to the Agnostic Front, and that's where we met.
Because the thing with May, when she says meeting friends, May will just bound up to anyone. Still now, 30 years later, you would just bound up to her and say, hi, my name's May. I was in the loos at the garage. Hi, I'm May. Hi. Do you want to be friends? Yeah, sure.
It was literally, and that was possibly And the funniest thing about this is, we go back to Ali again. I got home from that gig and I was like, oh my God, that was the best gig I've ever been to. Like, hardcore is amazing. And Ali just looked at me and went, oh, you're cool now. You're into hardcore now.
Who else played that Agnostic Front show? Because I didn't go for Agnostic Front. I went for... It
was Maximum Penalty, Agnostic Front, Vision, and Morning Again.
I went for Morning Again.
Yeah. Morning Again.
Oh,
it was like the best
my favourite band.
And like basically, everyone's heard this story, but I didn't have any money at the time, and I went up to the first person with a lanyard that I saw and went, "Oh, can you get me in?" I was only about 17 or 18. I was quite young, and I was like, "Can you get me in? I don't have any money." And it was Vinny Stigma, and he got me in and gave me his ride.
Uncle Vinny.
I will say this. I've heard a few stories from people over the years that there are people from different various bands. So Vinny Stigma we just mentioned, Rick to Life's another one, that a lot of dudes would and I'm presuming women as well who were part of the bands would try and get people in through the back door and so that happened. It used to happen a lot back in the day.
Because he actually said to me, he goes, "Oh, do you like?" He goes, "Are you into hardcore?" And I was kind of like, "Well, I've been to a Biohazard show." And he was like, "Oh, do you like Agnostic Front?" And I was like, "Honestly, I've never heard you." And he actually put his hands on my shoulders and went, "This is the first day of the rest of your life."
And it was.
It really was, because the amount of I can't to this day. I'm still I'm going shows all the time. I don't know what I would do without hardcore. I honestly have no idea what I'd do without it, because it's just it's. Every time I'm upset, every time I'm unhappy, I'll go to a show and everything, I call it the outside world, the real world, it just disappears. And it's just, I get this feeling so right now I'm kind of doing Sick of It All shows. And even to this day, I've seen Sick of It All probably hundreds of times. And the hairs on the back of my neck when their intro goes in still stand up. And I still, if you look at me, I'm the happiest person in the world when they're playing. Literally, yeah.
When was the first time you saw Sick of It All?
Another funny story. I was meant to see them. So the day that I got barred from the Astoria, Machine Head were playing with Coal Chamber, and I was stood outside as we were at 3:00 in the afternoon, and this guy comes up and I'm like, he goes, "Oh, you come and see my band?" And I went, "No." And I was like, "You're not in Machine Head?" And he was like, "Oh, you don't?" He was like, "Oh, I'm in Sick of It All." And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm going to go see Machine Head. I'm sorry." And I got thrown out of the Machine Head show for stage diving, so I tried to get, because they were playing downstairs at the LA2, and I tried to get into the VOD Sick of It All show, but got thrown out as well. But then a couple of years later, when we were sat outside, so I saw Sick of It All in '99 was the first time I saw them. Okay. And we were sat outside again, waiting around, hanging out, and Lou saw me and went, "I know you. You like my band now, huh? Huh? You're not in Machine Head, huh?" And I was like, "How do you remember that? What the hell?"
So you saw them 25 years ago, and you're going to see them tonight as well.
I'm going to see them tonight. I saw them last night. Saw them in Manchester on Friday. I'm going to see them probably about another 4 times this year.
Happy silver anniversary.
That is sick.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
I wanted to ask you guys, when did you know what hardcore was? It's a word, but when do you actually understand what it is to be into hardcore?
Knuckle dust.
I didn't set that question up.
I ain't even saying that to suck up.
No, I appreciate that.
I think as well, putting the time in for all these Sunday afternoon all-dayers in the early 2000s, and all the stuff we used to go through for maybe 1 or 2 bands, and just changing your entire life, because hardcore isn't just about the music, is it?
No.
Yeah. No, I think for me to sort of expand on why it was Knuckle Dust is also area effect, right? So I go to university in Manchester, and I'm in halls, right? So when you're a student, you live in halls, and I lived on floor 5 or whatever, and I lived with this Greek girl, and she was properly into black metal. She had a Mayhem Demisteris Dom Satanas poster on her wall, and she was put into, we lived together.
Did she smash any plates?
Yeah, just in anger while listening to Emperor.
Oh, okay.
She also had a Pete Tong poster, and always had the best weed as well. So
I respect it.
But anyway, so she's Greek, and all the Greeks in halls stuck together. They were all mates, right? And so there was a Greek guy living on the above me. He was called Marios Sozos.
I also met Marios at the show.
And so he was into hardcore as well. So we would like, he would make me mixtapes. He'd make me tapes with Jar John, and we went and saw Agnostic Front a bunch of times together. So we started to go to underground shows, and because we're living in Manchester, you can't help, if you go to underground hardcore shows, be swept up into the familiar that is Area Effect. Mark Boardman will just put his arm around you, take you under his wing, and that's it, your family. And at the time they had a split with Knuckle Dust, so they were touring with Knuckle Dust, and that's when I really noticed, hang on, hardcore isn't just music you listen to, hardcore is a participation sport. It's like a family, it's a tight-knit thing. You get, you end up in the back of a transit van with no seats, and you're in Glasgow and you're watching Knuckle Dust, and you're being looked after, and and that's every week of your life.
I think that was one of the things that I loved about it, though, because I found that even though I would follow around metal, I call them metal bands like Stuck Mojo and that sort of thing, you would never, I found that when I was following hardcore bands around, I felt looked after. Like it was always kind of, everyone kind of took me under their wing, and it was just like, oh, there's a tiny little girl that's just turned up to some show in Portsmouth or somewhere, and everyone was just really kind. And I'll be honest, now I don't see it as much with the internet. I kind of feel like that's gone a bit, because everyone, it's a bit more cutthroat, I feel now.
Yeah, I was going
to say, I also love how you never felt like a little girl, because if you're in a hardcore van, it's always like, oh, you grab that cymbal case and take it upstairs.
100%. You have to well, you're here. But going back to Sick of It All, they started taking me on tour with them, because they were like, it's safer for you to come with us. And I'd sleep at the back of because they had a big tour bus, I'd sleep at the back of the lounge, and because Lou's really tall and I'm tiny, so I would sleep with his jacket on me, because I just literally on the lounge sofa. And that would be because they were just like, why are you going around just it's not safe what you're doing, just come with us. And I was like, that's dope. Yeah, it's that's why one of the reasons they're my favorites. But yeah, cool. It's the hardcore's just it's even though I do complain it's a bit worse than it was before, but it's brilliant.
I mean, when we say worse, I think obviously with the internet and how things are changing now with social media, we can obviously connect a lot better, because as you said, previously you would get to a show at 3:00 in the afternoon, whereas nowadays people obviously turn up whenever they want to turn up, but
unless you're Wayman, you turn up,
well but the reality is, obviously with new technology, with how things have obviously progressed, now people could connect better online rather than just sort of waiting outside of the show.
But not to be old man shouting at clouds.
No, of course not.
It also I feel like the accessibility has also tarnished it a bit as well. Whereas before we used to have to seek bands out. We would have to look for bands, and I feel like there was a bit more passion into it, as opposed to, and when you first got into it, it would be oh, I want to start a band, or even with us, we want to start doing shows. It was kind of things that...
But could it be argued that in terms of say, I don't have it, but say for example something on Spotify, if you check out a band and it'll give you something similar, wouldn't that be the same sort of thing as actually kind of seeking out? Because you might not know who that band is, but it's suggesting to you something that's similar. Same thing how Sonny from 856 has his thing where you watch a band, and then he built that, I forgot what it was called, but he built this algorithm thing which will show you different bands you can get into. So I mean,
thanks lists in albums. Does anyone remember going through thanks lists in albums?
Or looking at merch?
And that's how you got into bands, because you'd be like, oh, if Knuckle Dust thanked Imbalance, then I'm going to listen to Imbalance or whatever it is.
Or and a t-shirt as well.
That's what I mean. Bands would come and turn up. You look at bands that are playing and be like, what merch are they wearing, or what I think it was just, I don't know, I still love hardcore to death, as I'm still, I go to loads of shows still, and I still have there are still loads of kids that I'm friends with. It's a bit weird now, but it's just it's I just feel a bit but also I feel it's probably because I am older and I do have things in rose tinted glasses, and it maybe wasn't that amazing, but growing up, that's how I just feel like it was just a bit more passionate than it is now. It's a bit of shame, but
I just want to quickly say it's like when you was young, right? Before Sky and before cable. At Christmas, you'll get like Star Wars or some shit like that.
Yes.
And everyone would be excited. Star Wars, it'd be a big event. Whereas now, because you got Netflix, you got Sky, you got everything on demand. You don't get that same feeling.
Yeah.
So I can attribute that to what you're saying with music.
That's a really good.
It's just
comparison.
Like when it's thrown at you. I don't know. I don't know.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Like there are lots of like we get a lot of. I think sometimes it's oversaturated. Sometimes where you're just like, 10, 15 bands. It's like, oh, check this band out, check that band out, and it's like, I feel like I'm really specific as to who I will listen to when they say to me, oh, check this band out. Like Danny Evans made me my first mixtape ever, and I don't think I still have the mixtape, but one of the things he put on the mixtape was Judge New York Crew, like he put it in brackets. He went, "This is the only hardcore song you'll ever need in your life," and
he's not wrong.
And it's true. He's completely right. But like Danny Evans used to be, Matty Barr also used to be one of those people that he would go, "Oh, check this band out," where I'd just be like, "Oh, okay, I'm totally going to check it out." But now people tell me check bands out, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do it, and I just 100% don't do it.
I think with Spotify as well, what happens is you get like fans of this band also like this band, and I go and listen to that band. I'm like, just sounds kind of like a not as good version of the band I've just listened to or whatever.
But also,
so it's but whereas before when you had to find it out, because you might see like the singer of X band with a t-shirt on of a band that sounded completely different, but it'd be another avenue of like influence for you. But yeah, I think now there's a bit of saturation, and I think when you go on Spotify, you got so much choice that it all just becomes the same shit. And whereas back in the day, you'd find something, you'd be like, "Fuck, I've never heard this before. This is cool as shit."
We need to bring back mixtapes. I've still got some of the mixtapes that people like Ian Wiles made me marry us.
Ian Wiles.
And like some really good ones. So
yeah, my first one was from Carl from One from Pain.
I love that. It's like that's the thing. It's still like, oh, and Lil from Household Name Records. He used to have the best distro.
Yeah.
And you go up to him and you go, "Oh, what's new? What can I get? What should I get?" And he would always be like, "This is really good," or "This is really good." Like Bulldoze. The first time I ever heard Bulldoze, Ali got it off Rick to Life. And it was like he got the final beat down, like, and Rick was like, "Oh, you'll really like this. It's the only one I've got. You should totally get it."
Was it a photocopy?
No, it was actually a real one. It was actually one of the real ones.
Yeah, distros as well. Like we had Veek from Simba up north, and
who works for Rev now.
Yeah, and she used to do these print out sheets, and you'd see what was. And I remember once Nick Royals had a wicked distro, and I was at my friend Nikki's house in Leeds, and there was a knock on the door. It was like a Sunday. We're having breakfast or something, and it's Nick, and he's just there with like a box of CDs. Oh, I've got, does anyone want to go? Because like in Leeds, that kept happening, and it's like door-to-door salesman, but with a hardcore distro. I brought a New Found Glory record that morning, so all good.
Do you think we're showing our age? Is this the boomer?
Yeah,
the boomer section?
The boomer section.
Boomer section.
We are becoming part of Blue Rinse Hardcore. Everyone but us. Fresh for 2024.
Before we get into, obviously, we deep further into like the Ninjafest thing, when did you start putting on shows?
I started doing shows in 1997, and we were meant to put Knuckle Dust on. I actually have a flyer from it, but you guys pulled out. Very upsetting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was.
Because Wayman was like,
Oh, no, it was 1998. I lie. It was 1998 because I moved to Southampton for uni, and there was no hardcore scene in Southampton, and I was very upset about it. So I was like, "Oh, I'm going to start doing shows." So it was meant to be Knuckle Dust, and it actually says Shark Attack on the flyer, but it was Peachy. Basic. I think 9 Bar's played instead of you, but it was Peachy with 9 Bar doing Shark Attack covers. That was my first ever show, and then I actually did put you on for my 21st birthday in Southampton. Yeah. And like, do you know what? You don't remember this at all. You came and stayed in my house. It was great fun. It was a lot of fun. And then I moved back to London and basically got in touch with John Viner at the Underworld, who, because I didn't have any money. I was like, I just left uni, just finished uni, and I was like, I need to start doing shows. So John was like, "Oh, well, you can put shows on." He goes, "You're not going to make any money." And I was like, "That's fine. Let me just put bands on." So I put Course of Action on from Belgium in the Underworld. That was my first show. And then I started doing a bunch of shows. And then me and Rach had a conversation at Good Life Festival in the tent outside. Do you remember?
Obviously I do, because it came to fruition. But yeah, we were at Good Life. Was it 2001 or 2002? 2002. So we had conversations about doing shows and things, but instead of starting off small, we thought, hey, let's do a festival. And it was May, myself, and a guy called Jamie, who was from Hull.
But yeah, it was, you'd already had the idea in play. And I remember you were like, oh, we're going to do a fest, and you were looking for a venue. And I was like, I've got a venue, but I really want to see Heaven Shall Burn. So I will help you guys if you like let me put Heaven Shall Burn on. And that's how Ninjafest really came into fruition.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah.
but what of the name Ninjafest? Like,
they came up with it. I think you guys had already come up with the name.
Yeah,
Ninjafest.
I think we had. Yeah, it was one of those things. I actually met Jamie through gigs, I think it was like metal gigs and things like that. So we went to see Bloodhound Gang, and I had friends that came over from Germany. I remember going to see Kitty, so it's just like really random gigs that we would go to. And then obviously that's when I did meet May, and we started to hang out more, and then we all went together to Good Life Fest, and that was probably, I think, that wasn't my first festival though, because I went to Stormfest as well before that.
Yeah, we went to Stormfest in 2001.
Yeah, so I think we'd actually got closer, and then it was in 2002. So we went to Good Life in 2002, and that was July, August, but then Ninjafest was in October. So we moved pretty fast then. I can't imagine doing that now.
Fuck, yeah, that's insane, because normally if you put on something like that now, you'd be starting it 3 months ago probably.
So Rach, was that your first show that you put on, or you'd put on shows previously?
Yeah, my first show was Ninjafest, and then from there, that's when we started back-to-back promotions.
And Louise, was you on board from the start as well, or?
I did a naughty one actually, because me and May started doing shows, and then May left me one time, went to America on holiday, and I really wanted to put on Righteous Jams. And then obviously we've been friends with Louise for a while as well, so I kind of roped Louise into it, and we put on Righteous Jams and a bunch of other bands at the Dome.
I didn't start promoting shows. I just started like helping out, because like I said earlier, hardcore's not really a participation sport. You got to like get your hands dirty. So I started out doing door. There's a fantastic promoter in Manchester, then moved to Leeds, called Trog, John Rogerson, and so just doing the door at his shows, running the Food Not Bombs stalls. That was a big thing back in the 90s, where you like bring you get a quid off your door entry if you brought a tin of beans that could go on to to people who really need it. Cooking for bands, letting bands stay over at my house, so just like kind of really getting involved that way. And my best mate Troy had a record label. Was terrible at running a record label. I mean, just he's literally the worst. And so I helped out, and we ended up doing a distro. I drove, so I would take all the stuff to the distro and run the distro. So for the first 2 Ninjafests, I wasn't involved. I just had the Burial Records distro. And then I can't help but help. If I'm there, I'm like, is there anything I can do? So me and Troy started to put gigs on, but May and Rach were already better established in London for having that name, and May had the links with the underworld, so they always nabbed the best bands. And me and Troy really wanted to put Righteous Jams on, but fair enough, and there was never any animosity between us because we're all mates. So they got the Righteous Jams show. Troy, okay, let's just say it now, if you're putting shows on, you're losing money, right? We were losing thousands of pounds, between us, because you're not gonna spend money putting gigs on. And Troy was already done. He was like, nah, I can't be losing any more money. So he said he didn't want to put shows on anymore. I was gutted. And then Rach was like, well, do you want to join back to back with me and May? I was like, yes, please.
So do you remember the first lineup in terms of like organisation and who wanted what bands and whose roles were doing what? Who sorted out flyers? Who was putting the bands together? Who was taking care of the venue, etc.?
I think if you skip to when it was the 3 of us doing the festival, we were quite organised, because May's very into like hardcore. I was more of the punk side, and then Louise was more the kind of straight edge metal side. So whenever we were coming together, we would all bring like 5 bands to the table that we want to see, and it might be like 5 bands. Well, we started off just Europe, didn't we, before we moved to like USA and other countries, and then 5 UK bands, and then we'd kind of work out from there, like if they were able to play, if we wanted them to play, anybody that anyone had beef exclusive. It's like, no, they're playing, and things like that. So it worked out really well, because then we had a real good mix, especially if it was a festival over 2 days.
Yeah, it was like basically we didn't really have. I mean, there were certain things like I would usually deal with the money because I was. Not deal with the money, but I would be the one that would pay the bands because I was the one that worked kind of with the venue. So we get the venue, and then it was that I used to be quite a stress head. I used to get really, really stressed out.
But I mean, obviously, doing it is stressful. Like it is stressful.
And like when you think about it, you've got to have like I think you guys used to say there's a normal May and then there's a Ninjafest May, and I used to be like, but we're dealing with like
that's true.
We're dealing with over 100 hardcore men. Yeah. Basically, and if I was just nice May, no one was going to listen to me.
Okay. And that is interesting you say that, because the next thing I was going to ask was, so 2 of you started doing it, and then you added Louise, like, and obviously you've been putting on shows for years, but was there any hostility shown towards you as 3 women putting on a festival as big as it was in London at the Underworld? Because I mean, was your first edition at the Dome, or was
downstairs?
It was downstairs at the Dome. Okay, so when you started putting, even if it was at the Dome, was it at the Underworld? Did you guys ever have any hostility, or was there just people just being weird because was there jealousy involved?
I think the first one was quite interesting because we did have someone who decided to graph up the backstage area, but and broke the windows as well. But it was pretty obvious who it was, so they got marched to a cash machine and they paid for it there and then. So I think our ability to get that sorted out straight away was kind of a good thing.
Yeah, no, we like it was. I generally don't think we really found any kind of. There was some issues. I remember there was at one time that because we realised that basically, and I mean, I do this now, so I probably shouldn't have been so harsh to everyone else, but we had signs in the backstage area saying the beer is for bands. Like, do not take the beer out and give it to your mates, because we're already trying to, 10 bands a day. We're trying to have enough beer for everyone. And I remember there was a particular person that got very angry with me, and for years afterwards, because we'd actually put, if we see you taking the beer outside,
name and shame.
No.
Name and shame.
But
was it me?
He's not. Yeah, he pretty much was.
They live in Brighton.
But like basically, it was we'd put on the warnings. We said, look, we'll take your backstage pass away, and so I saw them take the beer. It was a couple of beers, and I was just like, what are you we've literally said this. I was like, just give me your pass. And I don't think they thought we were serious, and I think this was the problem. It's not a woman thing. I think it was just they're not gonna do that.
Okay,
they're not gonna,
I think in London we got a completely different perspective to some friends. I don't think I should name and shame, but I think people will know who I'm talking about. Another scene in the UK where there was another collective of girls putting shows on that were, constantly being told, you don't know what you do, you don't know what you're doing. But I don't know whether it's a class thing or a London thing, but hardcore boys in London tend to just respect women a bit more, because I think they'll listen to their mums or their aunties, and they're not going to speak up to their mums or their aunties, otherwise they get a whack around the head. And I think they kind of hardcore bands in London kind of felt we was a bit like that, I don't know.
I think as well, with London being such a bigger scene, there was always a lot more women in the scene, because there were times we went to Germany and places like that and there would be hardly any women, and that's where we found that we would get a lot of funny looks and we weren't kind of welcomed as much.
And as well, I think being a female in hardcore, even now, I'm 45 years old. 45.
You admit it?
No, I'm 32. But I'll be at a festival and I'll be backstage and I'll still get snide comments. I was saying, JJ from D's Nuts, I've known him for years. Literally, we're talking about 15 years now. I've been friends with him. And I was at Fest and he came off stage, and came to give me a hug. And this girl, she couldn't have been older than 21, looked at me and just went, groupie. And I was just like, are you joking? Do you know I could be his mother? Let's be real. It's even at this age, you still get it. And it's not, I realised quite early on that it's more jealousy than anything else. is people want to be mates with these band dudes, and it's generally like men are very harsh as well. Like, I've had the worst things said about me by hardcore men, but at the same time I've had hardcore men stick up for me like there's no tomorrow.
I think, you know, this could be a whole podcast, so I don't want to get into it too deep, but I think if you are going to get into hardcore and you are going to be a woman in the hardcore scene, I've spoken about this a lot with my friends, we desexualized ourselves. Like, and I feel quite ashamed that I didn't have as much fun in my 20s as I could have done and should have done as a woman discovering her own sexuality, because you just cut yourself off a bit, because you can either be taken seriously as a gig promoter or you can pull a fit bloke. Why not both, man? I just feel sick that it couldn't have been both, but there we go.
It's funny you say that, because that's almost echoes of the early 90s female rappers. Because I've been listening to a lot of stuff recently, and I can't remember what it was on YouTube, but basically there was some really good female rappers, but they always had to stay in their lane. They weren't allowed to sort of like, they were allowed to be themselves, but they always had to sort of like follow the mode of like, obviously at that time it was mostly gangster rap and there was obviously conscious rap, but they always had to like follow a mold of like what it was looking through the men's gaze. So
that we had to feel like we had to be one of the boys, and also I say this, I'm 100% guilty of this as well. In my 20s, I was very protective of my male friends from other females.
We were kind of shitty to other women as well, and I'm ashamed for that, and I'm sorry if anyone ever felt judged by me. Exactly,
100%, and 100%, and but it would be like, and I shouldn't have done that. While I did try and be as welcoming to other females as I could be, I was not very nice to some other females, and I totally 100% like am very sorry about that. Like, but even now I'm just a bit like, I still kind of, when I go away or when I go to a different country, I do still get that from other females, so I try and just be like, I think I try harder with women now than I do with men to be mates, if that makes sense.
And can I just say, when I say pull a fit bloke, have you seen the London hardcore scene?
I know, it's full of us.
Slim Biggins.
It's just crazy. But we never, as a group of people, we never really had that issue when we were doing Ninjafest. It was never really, we didn't really have anyone being, it was more, oh well, we know you and we know you're really nice, so we're sometimes some people would take the mickey, but they found out very quickly that there is an Ninjafest May and there is a normal May,
and I think because the responsibility was shared between us as well, we would always kind of have each other's back, or we would deal with other people that we didn't feel were treating us with respect. So if May was having an issue, I would deal with that band, and vice versa. So it was easy to kind of evade any potential issues.
I was going to say, if you know these bands personally, how do you separate that? Like, from, I know you as a friend, and now I've got to tell you, you need to be on stage or you need to do this.
Like, the thing is, I think most bands are, we were very strict with our correspondence, let's say. So if we would have a set load-in time, and we'd actually put in the email, we'll say load-in time is this time. If you do not turn up at this time to load in, then you will have to go through the crowd to load in. You're going to have more difficulty than you will, if you turn up at 3. And we also always said, if you don't come before your set time, then you're not playing.
Can we big up the crew at the Underworld?
I was literally about to say Sploot.
Talk about Sploot and Kate.
Oh yeah. Legends.
Yeah, I think there's no way we would have been able to do it without Sploot, because he was just like top tier from start to finish.
And do you remember Kate's face? Kate is this amazing engineer, like one of the best, still working at the Underworld and still going on tour with bands, just what a cool woman.
She was amazing.
And do you remember her face when it was like, oh, we're doing Ninjafest again, and she'd be like, how many bands, what's the changeover? And her face would just be like, oh.
And that was not even telling her about break band.
Yeah, because basically we were told that they needed to have a break, which obviously is understandable. No one wants to be mixing a band for 12 hours non-stop, so we were like, oh yeah, that's fine. And then we decided one year that we were going to have a break band, which was just basically a hardcore covers band, and they were like, but we were like, no, you don't have to mix them, just you guys go, put the lights pretty much on, and they'll just play as it is. And they would stay though, bless them. They would never do break band without, like, they would never go off, and we were just like, but they're the
I didn't know that. I feel guilty now.
Yeah, it was.
It's okay though, because we would run to the shop like in between the break band as well and bring them back like snacks and drinks just to tide them over. It's like, thank you.
That goes directly into my next question I was going to ask. Like, a memorable moment. Can you name a memorable moment? Or all of us could do so. So, May, you start first. A memorable Ninjafest moment.
Probably I would say break band. It was always it was always my favourite part of the day. I think I would look forward to that probably. We put on so many amazing bands, like Bulldoze as well. Oh my god!
Can I quickly ask you what is the, for the people that don't know, what is the break band?
Yeah, so it was you, Khalid,
Ali, Dear Love was in it at one point.
Swaz was in it one year.
Was Dan Knight in one?
Dan Knight was in one. Weakness, because we did a 25 to Life cover set 1 year. we did the whole of Strength for Unity, didn't we?
My favourite was Life of Agony.
Yeah, Life of Agony was amazing.
Let's give this context. So in the middle of the day, you would have a break, and a band would come on stage and just play covers.
Yeah.
Steve was in that band.
Sam Fredder was in it
That
one
was
year.
Swaz on a horse, yeah.
Was it? I don't remember. Oh, for the 25 to Life, yeah, of course, yeah. Sam Fredder was in one of them as well, or two of them maybe. Yeah, there was a few different lineups.
The other thing is when Bulldoze played, and there was a girl she was from somewhere. I think she was from Manchester. I think Crawl might have known her. She grabbed the mic off Kev One, and she said, she goes, why are all these men banging into girls? I'm here repping the Northwest.
I remember this.
I still have the t-shirt.
I'm repping the Northwest, and everyone was just like, what is this girl doing? And she's like, everyone should be careful. There are like people in the, females in the pit. And then Kev One took the mic off her and said, if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. And everyone just looked and went, ooh. And then Ali the next year made Repping the Northwest t-shirts, and it was incredible. It was so good. That was probably one of my favourite.
My favourite moment, I think, was the year Seconds Out opened.
Yes.
And I've never seen a crowd go off to anything like that before. Like, it was 12 o'clock in the afternoon, a whole day of like 11, 12 bands, first band, and the place just went nuts. It was incredible.
It's on YouTube, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so good.
For a first band, that is actually that's mental.
And I think that kind of like says a lot about Ninjafest, because there was never really a Ninjafest until we get to like 2014, where 2014, one of the last ones, when the early bands, like, it was just carnage from start to finish. There wasn't like that whole waiting for a band to come on to be able to mosh to. It was like, as soon as that first band kicked off, it was just, that was it.
Louise?
I don't know. I feel like my memory's gone, and I can't remember any of the bands, but what I can remember is just the vibe backstage. And yeah, okay, fair enough, it might have got a bit boozy. I think I was straight edge for the first two, but when I got involved, I'm not blaming that, but yeah, it was just super busy. So what do I remember? I remember one time being sent to Morrison's with my best mate Jeremy Miller.
Thank you, Jeremy.
To buy some beer. We had like, just a bit of rider, and it was like, go to Morrison's, buy some crates of beers for the bands, put them all in the trolley, and then the woman scanned one box of beer, and I thought she kind of scanned one and then put in the till 12. So I'm paying, I'm walking out. And then as I get down the road, Jeremy taps me on the shoulder. He's like, you only pay for one box of beer. So that's a good memory. And then May and Rach go, we can get more beer. And then it just, there was just carnage. There was like some weird shots that people brought over from the Netherlands.
Blue
one
girl.
year, was it like Stu from Public Disturbance, or someone brought some dildos, a bag of dildos. So someone else tell that story, because it's disgusting.
Sorry, mate, I did actually have that as one. I think I was going to talk about Dildo Gate. So
he'd basically ironically, one of them worked for, what was the band called? I can't remember.
It was Resurrection.
Yeah.
But one of them worked in an adult shop.
Erection.
They worked in an adult shop.
Resurrection.
Bought this bag of dildos, and like we were just like, this is very odd. So we literally were like, okay, but then we just put them around everywhere. Like
I remember filling up the fridge.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's what
And Waymer opened the fridge and he went to grab a beer and he grabbed a dildo.
I also remember opening the fridge and I was like, what the fuck? Like,
DBS Cartel played.
Oh god.
And Cartel played, and Fatty went to sing, and DBS had one of the dildos in his back pocket, and instead of Fatty went over to grab the mic and didn't realise that DBS had pulled out the dildo, and Fatty was singing into the dildo.
Do you know Fatty didn't speak to him for like 6 months.
Really?
He was upset.
Yeah,
He was angry about
he
it.
wasn't happy. Yeah,
I didn't actually know about that.
Don't be afraid of penises, man.
It was just.
So yeah, I think my memories were more of like, I know you shouldn't say this. It's all about the music. It's all about the music. It's all about the music. Ninjafest was not about the music. It was just about getting into that backstage and just having a party. I mean, the amount of karaoke that went in that.
Yeah,
backstage.
Wisdom in Chains sing. Oh no, it's Stout, wasn't it? The Stout
singing
sing along.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
I'm pretty sure Joe did a little rendition of something back as well.
It's like it was also really about like the friendships that we made out of, like there were people like Colin of Arabia who I loved, and I remember just saying to you guys, I really have to get this band over. I really love COA. I really want them to play, and I think that was one of the things that I loved about Ninjafest with these tiny little bands. They weren't tiny, but they were like these bands that we all loved. That really, like, I remember you wanted to put on Bryan Adams' band. Why has it gone out of my name?
Bryan Adams?
Yeah, the one who covered Bryan Adams.
The groover from Vancouver.
Kev from Second Sound.
Oh, Down and Out.
Yeah, that just went out of my brain. But Down and Out's played, and I was just a bit like, I'm not really fussed. And I remember you said to me, you were like, it was the best thing ever. They started
Best
covering.
band at Ninjafest.
They were so good.
The best band at Ninjafest.
And will always be one of the best albums ever as well.
Yeah. But yeah, they were so good, and I remember because I was just a bit like, I'm not really fussed about this band, and Rach was like, but then they started playing Bryan Adams, and you ran across the stage. And I was just like, I love them now. But like, we would get bands that, like, even though we didn't agree on which, but if we really wanted a band, we would be like, I really want.
And if a band was playing Ninjafest, they'd always do something a little bit special for us. Like, there'd always be a cover. Like, I remember Abandoned Ship covering Limp Wrist, and me just like, I've never stage dived, but I stage dived like just to grab the mic and just, there was just some good times. And I'm just like, when you were saying earlier, Rach, about how there's like a May band, a Rach band, and a Louise band, and how you, and so I'm looking at the lineups going, Raiden, Louise band, Seventh. So yeah, I can see which bands I picked now.
But yeah, that's like I said, and like I became friends with Colin, and it's just like a friendship that has lasted forever. And it's just like, it's those friendships that we made out of these like bands that we put on is just forever, something that we'll ever hold. And even now, people will come up to me and go, Ninjafest, it's like, it was really sick. And like, some people have made fun of me because I do still bring it up quite a lot. But I'm like, and I was saying this to someone yesterday, I was saying it to my friend Kat, and I was like, but I'm so proud of what we did. I am so proud of it. So like, I'm gonna sit there and bring it up. And it's not that I'm like, it's not that I'm like riding on the laurels of a fest we put on 20 years ago or 10 years ago, but it's something that I'm so proud of being part of, that we couldn't, obviously I couldn't have done it without you guys.
But also, coming back to that as well, we've actually had people come up to us and said that because of what we did, especially being women, it actually spurred them on to do their own thing as well. So you have got people like Ola, who's got like amazing stuff going on, like Damage is Done Fest, like
quality control.
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's so good. Like, I had one of like my friends, Jamie, came up to me at a fest in Manchester like 2 years ago, and we're friends now because he was like his opening conversation was, I went to my first hardcore show was Ninjafest, and it was incredible. And I'm just like, I like every time Dylan says that to me, I want to cry, because I'm just like, That's so sick. That's, to me, that's just so awesome.
I'm really into metal.
Yeah.
Like, everyone knows that I really love like metal and some underground metal, and it's really funny how the amount of people in metal bands come up to me and go, "Did you put on Ninjafest?" Like the guy who's now the guitarist in Carcass come up to me once, like before he was in Carcass, he's like, "You put on Ninjafest."
That's so cool. That's so sick.
That's it. Yeah.
That's so sick.
Is there any bands that you wish that you'd put on, or you unfortunately missed out on getting for the festivals? It doesn't matter what year it was, or any particular year, or
District 9.
Oh my god, we had District 9.
I was gutted about that.
I remember that.
We had District 9 and we just didn't.
And also Animal House.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah, that would be good.
Let's not talk about Blacklisted.
And don't worry, I'm mates with them now. So it's
Yeah, no, fair play. We did book Blacklisted, and we booked their flights and everything, and then they had a bereavement. Like, my heart goes out to them, but we lost all that money. And John Viner came through for us.
Yeah, he totally was.
He made sure that we didn't lose it. I mean, we're talking about how great Ninjafest was and how much we loved it, and we don't regret a thing. But we paid for some of it ourselves. It wasn't like
It wasn't, and I mean, it couldn't have been done without John Viner. There's absolutely no way we could. And like, looking at it now, it's like how much we used to charge to get in. It was like £20 for 2 days, and I'm just like, how
looking at how festivals charge now for
like not even like, so I paid for a show yesterday, 27 quid, and I was just like, I know inflation, I get it,
and it's sick of it all.
No, it wasn't sick of it all.
Okay.
It wasn't sick of it all. No, it was
I know what show it is. I know what show it is.
It was another show that I was just like, when I paid for, I'm just like, I just remember the nice days when everything was cheap. But we couldn't, I don't think, because people keep saying to us, keep saying to me, I don't know about you guys, bring it back now, please. We'd love to, but there's absolutely no way we could afford it. There's no guarantees are too high.
I think the proof as well from the 2014 one, it just wasn't something that could be sustained and carried on with.
I think it's a lot harder now to put fests on. So hats off to people that are doing fests now. It's a lot harder and a lot more difficult to put, and I mean, so many things have replaced it, like Northern Unfest, which is incredible, like, Wrong Side, when Wrong Side comes back, Adam Kelly, like things like that, like literally fests like that. And like even like when you look at Revolution Calling is such an amazing, incredible, huge fest, but I have no idea how Martine does it. I have no idea, because it's literally the biggest thing I've ever.
It's a great festival.
It's such a great festival, and I think things have replaced us. And when we first started doing it, one of the reasons I did really want to kind of be part of a fest, Evil Fest. So Evil Fest was a fest put on by Lil from Household Name, and Evil Fest, and that's what I wanted to base Ninjafest, like my part.
Was that the Astoria?
It was
Garage.
They did one at the LA2 as well.
Kickback.
They did. So the one at the Underworld that had Kickback and Kill Your Idols, and I kind of wanted to base it around that. I wanted it to be bands that are not too big. I wanted it to be like when we put Terror on. Terror were not a big band. Yeah. But like it
not
was
what the Terror are now. But
it was bands like that like. We knew we're going to be huge, but we were like, okay, let's kind of try and get them when they're a smaller band. We knew, and we all had great taste, especially me. No.
We put on some good old days as well, like at the Dome, like Ringworm.
Oh my god, that Ringworm and Outbreak show was just incredible.
And when was it Mental?
We put Mental on at the Verge. Like, we put on loads of like really good little shows as well. It was
and some terrible ones
and some really bad ones, which we won't mention.
Everyone but us. Straight from the heart of London.
I want to say something. Hopefully, it doesn't come across too controversial, because I know the band kind of is, depending on where you sit. But One Live Crew.
Yes.
Did you get who booked them first? Who was one who wanted to put them on?
All of us. It was all of us. I think we should take, like, all of us should take, because we all agreed to do it. So it was basically District 9 and Animal House had pulled out, and so we were like, oh god, what are we gonna do? So one of our friends was in One Live Crew at the time. And so he said, look, I'll get you One Life Crew for a good deal. I give you a good deal. I give you a good deal. And like, to be fair, at the time, and I'm going to say this flat out, at the time, I, as an Arab Muslim woman that is a child of immigrants, was not offended by One Life Crews. I saw them as a joke band.
Okay.
At the time, they were not out. They are not the One Life Crew that they are now. So they were basically. I didn't see them as. I just thought, oh, it was a joke, and everyone jokes about, you know, One Life Crew. It's just been, and they were playing fests that I had been to, so it was not a thing.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of stick for it, though. We got a lot of stick for it, and it was just like, wait a minute, you can't tell me.
Sort of stick that probably would have maybe got you cancelled today.
No, because they couldn't have cancelled us because I'm a brown Arab woman. I don't think that they would. I think if someone,
But like
as a team, because I would be the one that said, well, you can't. We're putting them on together. If there was an issue, then I would be the first one to have an issue. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I would have had a problem. If someone had come to me now, and people have spoken to me, like one of Gorilla Biscuits, I had a conversation with me and said, why did you put One Life Crew on? And I was like, at the time, it wasn't a big deal. Like, they were playing loads of shows. And we got them we did get them for very cheap, to the point that Chubby Fresh actually cornered me at Tsunami and was like, you know, we've been offered loads and loads of money and you're getting us for a ridiculously cheap amount. And I went, and he goes, oh, yeah, but you know, I'm a, and then he started laughing. He goes, oh, I'm a Jew that's dealing with money. And I looked at him and I went, and I'm an Arab dealing with money, so we're the best, like, best team together. It's like, but it's now, I wouldn't put them on. Now with some of the stuff that Steve has said, I'm a bit like, mate, come on. Like, there's no need. And they were lovely. This is the thing. They were such nice guys.
Which is mad, because I mean, I've met Chubb a few times in America, like just to say hello, not like buddy, and bumped into Steve when obviously Zig was over as well when they come 2013, and they were cool, like they were just hanging out. But yeah, so fast forward all those years later and how everything's gone in America, it is a little bit of a shame, like. But, I mean, I'm not trying to cancel someone for their political affiliation and who they want to support or what they believe in, but
we also put on Awoken.
Yeah, let's not.
You guys need to be cancelled for real. Like.
No, but like that.
Wouldn't that be spelled with runic symbols now? Everyone but us. Straight from the heart of London.
Right, so we're coming to the end. We've just got a couple more to go. I was going to ask your favourite and least favourite editions of Ninjafest. May?
Mine would be, was it 2007 with Cold World and COA and Risky Business. It was, it must have been 2007 because we did that tour. And like No Redeeming Social. Who else played that one?
Wisdom in Chains, Knuckle Dust. Oh, who else? Yeah. Colin of Arabia, No Turning Back. Yes. They were always good on Ninjafest. Yeah. I think that was my favourite as well, actually.
Yeah, it was such a good one.
We were debating it earlier before, but when I look at the lineup now, also I really liked the first one we did at the Underworld with Terror and like Amendment 18. Yes. That was really good as well.
Right, yeah, those my least favourite one was probably the last one.
The 2014. Yeah.
Because we had so many problems and so many. It wasn't. When I remember just kind of thinking we did this because we enjoyed it. Yeah. It was something that we loved doing. We loved, and I just was just like, I'm not enjoying this.
No, I hear that. I hear that fully. Like after doing Ready Fest and everything, like once you know it gets to a certain point and everything is working against you in terms of like the band that you want to get has pulled out, or certain bands have pulled out and just nothing's going well, it's not selling well. That's when you kind of like, no, obviously we're not in it to be trying to make profit off of the scene, but once you know this is it, like, so yeah, I kind of see that, because 2014 was a shame because the lineup, obviously with District 9 being on it and obviously not being able to play, it was good because the previous year, that was the first one I went to, 2013, that was incredible, like. That was incredible.
The One Life Crew one.
The One Life Crew one. Yeah, I had a great weekend. It was so good. So the following year, everyone's excited. Oh, Ninjafest is back again. Are they going to keep it going? So it was a good time to maybe call it a day on that.
I think that was, it was the best time, and I kind of feel like it's run. It's like I said, it's run its day. There are too many fests at the moment anyway. We don't need to be putting on another fest. No one needs to be saturating that market anymore. And like, there is no evil fest. Your turn. What's your favourite?
I'm going to read out a list of bands.
Yeah, cool.
Like, listen to this, man. Strength for a Reason, Dead Stop, Rise and Fall, Zero Mentality, On Thin Ice, Walk the Plank, Internal Affairs, 100 Demons, Justice, Break It Up, Raiden, Die My Demon, The Down and Outs, Seconds Out. I mean, that's just some of the bands. How sick is that?
Yeah,
we did that.
Yeah, man.
That's just 1 year. And that's just that list of bands is just basically my Spotify, and we put all of those bands in one room over one weekend.
That's incredible.
Like,
It has been really exciting as well to see that Zero Mentality and Black Friday 29 have actually been playing shows again in Germany, and that is just like, because they were like two of my favourites.
Oh, we love Black Friday 29. Love them. But it's just, I think that it was, for its time, it was epic. But now I just don't think it's...
Did you also you done Running Riot as well, didn't you?
Yeah, so when these lovely ladies decided not to do it, I was like, no, I'm gonna keep doing it, because I'm stubborn. I was like, I'm gonna keep doing a fest, and it's gonna be great. And it was good. I put on some really good bands, but at the same time I hated it, because it's impossible to do it by yourself. It's impossible. I was just like...
Even putting on a 5-band show or 4-band show on your own is like... Depends who it is. Not easy, but doing a festival, like...
I was miserable because I kept doing shows. I think my last show ended up being 2013. I put on, it was either Gravemaker or Bitter End, one of the two. But the only reason I'd done those shows was because I'd actually done a proper DIY. I said to them, look, I have this much money I can give you as a guarantee. If I make more money on the door, then I will give you more money. But if I don't make any more money, then unfortunately this is all I can promise you, because that's all I can afford to pay you. And so I ended up making way more, because both the shows like pretty much sold out. Thank you, Dirty Money. But it was basically like, even Dirty Money, they were awesome. They were like, oh, just give us what you can. And I ended up paying them like quite a lot, because I was just like, I'm not taking any of this money. It's all for you guys. But I think, it's just... doing it by myself was impossible. I was so stressed out. I remember on the last day of the last Running Riot, I started crying and I went, I'm absolutely not doing this. There's no way I'm doing this.
No, I respect it. Like, when it's time to bow out, because it's just like, we can all talk about things like mental health and all shit like that, but it does have an effect on your mental health, like putting on shows and stuff, like, because there's so much to do.
Yeah, and it's so much pressure, and it's kind of like, oh, I've got to try and get this right. And I kind of, because of my anxiety, I beat myself up anyway about other things. So it's like, if I fail doing that, then it'll be weeks and months that I'm sat there going, why didn't I do this?
And there's always someone shit talking you.
God, that's like, the problem.
And they've never put on a show on. They don't know what it's like.
Yeah, that's very true, Louise, because some people think that putting on a show is like easy as pie. Like, it's
you're
not like
rolling away in a Jag or something.
Yeah, it's really not like, because you're always wondering and thinking, is the headliner going to pull out?
Yeah.
Is the headliner going to pull out? Are we going to sell enough tickets?
Yeah.
Like...
And it's like, who's going to be caught in traffic?
Watching that counter of the tickets being sold is just like
it's horrible.
Such anxiety.
Yeah, it was. Oh my god, it was
horrible.
And you do maths as well. You work out like, right, if we sell this many tickets,
we could pay
break
these bands.
even.
Yeah,
like we shouldn't have had a break band. We should have had a break even band.
Exactly.
Which is a celebration of like, oh my god, we've covered our costs. Anything. Yeah.
But I think towards the end we'd figured out like perfect ways, because like I found earlier on, because I was the one like getting the money from the budget from John Viner and then like paying all the bands, we realised that instead of having bands wait until 11 o'clock at night when the show had ended to pay them all, it was like, well, why don't we just pay him? I'll never forget one band member who I loved to death. He's amazing. He joked, he was like, oh, you're paying us now and like we're one of the headliners, I could just leave. And I went, you're not leaving.
And by that time Rach was drunk and I was stoned.
Yeah, Yeah, it's like 3 p.m. So I was like, you're not leaving. He was like, no, I'm not. It's fine. But it's kind of like we had a really good system going, I think, towards the end, where it was like we every band knew when they were going to get paid. Every band, like, we had a little room that they would give us where I would just give like. But I found out the other day that bands don't get paid by cash; they get paid by like badge transfer now. I could never do that. That's like
welcome to the 21st century.
Yeah, I was literally. This is how long I haven't done a show. I'm just like badge transfer.
Yeah, most bands. Yeah, it's been happening for years now.
No, I just wanted to say, it's funny, being someone that's been in a band for a long time, I really love that when I turn up at a show that we're going to do and we get paid early.
Immediately, yeah.
Only because we actually have anxiety about getting paid as well, because if we're playing abroad and we've got the ferry, hotels, or different expenses,
yeah.
There's been a lot of shows that have been out where the promoter said we can't pay you the money that we promised you, and then we've had to end up paying money out of our own pocket, which happens sometimes. But yeah, it's just, I respect that when you said that you was paying bands early. That's really good.
Yeah, around like 2007, when I really wanted COA to play, I tried to find them a tour booker. I couldn't get them a tour booker, so I was like, I'll do my first tour, and it sucked. It was like the worst thing that I've ever done. It was so stressful, and I just was not good at it. And it was the only tour I've ever booked. And I mean, they had a great time, thank God. But like, it's the only tour I've ever booked. And you know when you know...
Who was it for?
Colin of Arabia and Risky Business. And it was, it was amazing fun. But like, it was just
It's
not.
stressful.
Yeah, it's really stressful. And I remember we turned up to Venice, and it was where before like GPS, so we had to print out off Street Map where we were going to the next venue. And so like this guy had given me a tour of it was like a scout hut type thing, and he was like, here are the computers, you can, and I was like, okay, sick, I need to come a bit later and print out the directions. And the girl that was doing merch at the time, she was vegan, so I went up to the other guy that was like promoting, and I went, just so you know, she needs to have some vegan food if you're doing like the rider. And he went, the women aren't going to get fed. And I went, what, are you joking? And he went, yeah, you guys don't get food. And I looked at him and I went, I'm sorry, what?
What country was this in?
This was in Venice, in Italy. And it's like, I literally was just like, are you actually joking? I was like, I'm sorry, what? And I went, okay, fine, whatever. Can you just take me back to that room so I can print out everything? Because I could tell he started being iffy. And he was like,
that is really weird.
He goes, we don't have computers. And I was just like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? So I like sat behind the merch desk and my face was like thunder, like proper thunder. And Colin came over, and Colin's like this 6 foot, like 4, jacked at the time. Sorry, Colin, jacked at the time. And he's like, if you don't know Colin, he can look terrifying. He's really, really lovely. He's like the nicest guy in the world. But if you don't know him, he could terrify you. And he's like, what's wrong? Something's happened. What's wrong? And I was like, I was like, I don't care about the food. I cannot eat, but she needs to eat. And he was like, what are you talking about? So I told him what happened, and he goes off and like speaks to this guy, and this guy comes back and he goes, we've got her vegan food. And I was like, dick. But then he came over to me later on, and I was sat behind the merch, and I was just like trying to ignore him, and he goes, you're from London? And I was like, yeah. He goes, have you heard of Ninjafest? And I was like, yes. And I put Ninjafest on, and he tried to give me his CD, and I literally just threw it across the room. I was like, absolutely not. There's no way in hell.
That was such a long story, but it was such a good punchline.
That was a great fucking ending.
Sick punchline.
That just brought me to another little thing that we used to get. Is remember, we used to get demos through the post, because bands wanted to play Ninjafest. Like, no one does that anymore.
Yeah.
Like Simon Cowell, yeah. That's a no from me.
I mean, I feel sorry for anyone that would send us their demo, but the thing is that, what was it, 20 bands over a weekend, and between the 3 of us,
you have an idea who you
get. We already knew, and it was all of our mates.
And there was always we'd always try and get Knuckle Dust, we'd always try and get No Turning Back, we'd always try and get like the London, I call them the London Pact, because it was just like, it wouldn't be right if we didn't.
And then if we could get like a PA or a Baltimore band as well, for the lols.
Like with someone from, exactly, PA.
I do sometimes feel bad, like when a fest, it's happened with us, a fest gets announced online, and you see people putting their bands in the things, recommending their bands wanting to play, and deep down, like, you're not going to get on it. But I do, like, at the same time, see that it's good that people will be happy to just be like, I want my band to play it. Like, we might not play it, but at least we're putting our name down for it. Like, and it has happened where someone's pulled out and someone's put their name down and they've ended up being in the lineup.
All of the bands early on at Ninjafest were like nepo babies, because they were like, if we knew them. I think we're all kind of maternal. Neither of us have got children, or I think we've all spoken about not wanting children, but we did feel like we're mummies, aren't we?
No, we're the hardcore aunties.
Yeah, we're definitely the hardcore
Graham.
aunties.
One of my favourite memories isn't a Ninjafest memory, but it's another show we put on when we put Outbreak on at the Dome, and Dirty Money was first on. They were our babies, but it was their first ever show, and we put them on, and they were so sick.
Oh, they were so good.
Because they were first on, not many people had got there, so the buzz around us, oh my god, Dirty Money was so good. So people were coming in like, oh, what? We missed Dirty Money, so we ended up putting them on again. So they played twice.
Oh shit!
And then it went off. So Dirty Money's first and second ever show was ours.
Did you pound?
And I think their last show was ours, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't their last show. Their last show was a Dead and Gone show.
Oh yeah.
At the Underworld.
But they did jump on stage at Ninjafest and did a secret surprise show.
But they also, I always remember, like, I used to say to you guys, I'd be like, right, whatever band Ali's doing is we've got to put on. It was always like, I was like, I know he's my brother and he has to play.
Why not? I have to ask, like, when you're putting on bands, do you have to think about, as well as bands that you like or you know personally, do you have to think about the money side, a band that's going to pull a crowd? Even if you don't like them, doesn't that factor into your decision?
It does, but back then, it's like you could fly a band over from the US and it wouldn't be that expensive, because they were also willing to put money down, and you didn't have things like the visas, because they could make their most of the bands could make their way through. There's only one or two that we had that got turned back, but like guarantees and flights and stuff weren't as big as they are now, and like even with tour bookers, they didn't have so big guarantees and like stupid after breaks that you get now. There was none of that kind of bullshit.
Because you can't do a fest with an after break. It's just impossible.
I kind of feel like the essence of like, we're doing this because this is hardcore and we just want to play. We might sell some merch, but the idea of being on the stage at Ninjafest or whatever big festival it was at the time was the most important thing.
I feel like Lifeless was the last band that I really felt like they were like that. They were like, we don't actually care how much you pay.
Yeah, because
they were like,
now a lot of bands.
Love you, Jay.
Yeah, we'll miss you, Jay.
Yeah, I remember.
And we had, because Ninjafest did grow into such a family affair, that because of Rach's relationship with a lot of bands in Philly, you guys would go over to Philly a lot, so they would want to come and do Ninjafest, so they would book their tours around it, or they would be like, oh, you got to put us on Ninjafest, and be like, oh, headliner sorted then, booking the lineup never felt that hard, because it was always like, right, Cold World want to do it. All right, cool, sorted. So that's our headliner done. Everything else fell into place,
But like we'd have help as well from people like Martine, Stronger Bookings, and he would definitely, because we'd be like, me or Rachel would message and go, right, we really want this band to play. Can you book a tour around it? And Martine would always like help us out as well. Like, we couldn't have done Ninjafest without Martine too.
I mean, the reason I asked that question is because a lot of the fests now, it seems like it's always the same bands. Yeah. And it's the bands that usually draw a lot of people. So I'm wondering, as a promoter, do they feel like they have to put these bands on because they draw people rather than bands that won't draw as much people?
I feel like Epafest is trying to get away from that. Like, out of all the fests at the moment, Epafest is trying to get away from putting on the Terror. Like, I love Terror, and I love, you all know I love Sick of It All. But like, they're trying to get away from bringing the really big pulls. Where if you put Sick of It All on, there's always gonna.
But I mean, I'm not putting us down, but Ninjafest wasn't very imaginative. Like, you could pretty much you could play, like, you could put a bunch of bands in a hat and pull them out and be like, yeah, they're going to play Ninjafest, because we didn't want to get the hot, cool new band. We just wanted to get our mates.
Well, we wanted to put on bands. We wanted to put bands on that we wanted to see. That was the thing.
And I don't think that happens now. Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make as much.
I think with people like, I'll be honest, with things like Northern Unfest, which is a bit smaller, I think they are bringing bands that they want to see, as opposed to I think there are other fests that are doing it now. I think with the bigger fests, there are a lot of we've got to put on our really big bands that are going to just guarantee the crowd. And I and there are...
I understand it.
Like around summer, there are just, there are...
It's just around...
Who's touring?
Around summer, it's pretty much... Whatever country it's in, if there's a festival, it's pretty much the same fucking lineup. It's the same lineup. But
shout out Super Bowl of Hardcore. They've got quite a good lineup this year as well. Yeah.
Great fest that is as well, by the way.
Brilliant.
Ebafest's lineup is really good this year as well.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to get away from, putting on the really, really big bands, and they put it in a smaller venue. And I like Ebafest is my favourite fest in the whole world.
Yeah, I'm biased. I love the whole thing when it had the tent and that, but at the same time, I understand why it has to move away from that, because there are massive costs involved.
You guys are all babies. Ebafest happens in an old fish factory down the little alleyway, and that is Ebafest. It's at the Vorton Viz, and you guys don't know. You guys
car park.
Yeah, the car park.
We need to add another boomer announcement to that.
I went to old school Ebafest.
Well, I think we're going to run it and wrap it up with this now. So thank you guys so much for...
So I've got one question.
Go on.
I didn't rudely interrupted you. I just wanted to know, what's your favourite thing about hardcore now, and the thing you hate the most about hardcore now?
I think that my favourite thing about hardcore now is all the relationships and friendships that I established over the years, like all around the world. Because when I'm talking to people who have never been involved in the scene, you're like, my friend in Philly, my friend in Germany, my friend in like Hong Kong or whatever, and it's just like, it's amazing. And we used to be able to, like, back in the day when I used to go to like festivals in Europe, it's like, hey, I'm coming over, oh, you're staying at my place, and it was just that kind of like two-way thing where it's like you would always have a bed wherever you went, they would give you a bed, and it's just, you struck up like really good friendships through that. And like I've known people now for like 25 years and so, and you're still like really good friends, and you've seen people evolve, and also just watching people grow up. Because like we were talking about Graham before, like who's in High Vis now, and just he always says like Ninjafest, that was one of the best things ever. And then you see him on stage like selling out like Assembly Hall last time we saw him, and it's absolutely incredible. So just watching people like that, and just who've gone from strength to strength, I just love it.
What do you hate?
What do you hate?
What do I hate? I don't know.
Be honest.
I just can't be arsed with it anymore. I think
that is the comment on the podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I don't live in London for a start. I like going to bed early. I just find it hassle, and I just don't have that. I don't have that kind of oomph or desire to get into new bands. So when I'm listening to hardcore, I'm listening to bands I listened to 10, 15 years ago. Like when I went to Revolution Calling last year, I absolutely just went nuts with Wisdom in Chains, because they will always be one of my favourite bands. And so nothing really new compares to that for me, and I don't really find that connection with many bands anymore that I used to have. And if I do go to a gig, I'm really selective about who I watch. So I used to go to a festival, I'd watch every single band. Now I'll go and maybe just watch the headliner and check out, like if a band sounds good, I'll go and listen to like one or two songs. But I just don't have that energy or desire for it anymore.
That's fair enough. Who wants to go next?
I'm just going to nick Rachel's answer. The best thing about hardcore, do you know what? I'm going to say straight edge. I'm not straight edge anymore, big time. But big up sobriety in the years where I needed it the most. And the thing that I hate about it is, I just don't know any of these bands. I've got these young kids who I work with, and they're like, "Oh, do you like Jill?" And I'm like, "Who?" And I never would have been like that years ago. I would have been like, I would have been like, "Yeah, I've got their demo." But so I feel a bit like ashamed that I don't know much now.
I think it says it all as well that tonight we're actually going to watch a Bon Jovi tribute band.
Oh, yeah.
Not all of us.
Not you.
May's going to see Sick of It All. We're going to see a Bon Jovi covers band.
I think that's the thing. I feel like I am, because Rach said earlier, we're like the hardcore aunties, and I'm still going shows. I'm still like, but I'm the only one left in London, to be fair. So it's kind of, but I still go to like quite a lot of shows. I'm still the old lady that turns up to the first band and just wants to still check out new bands. But at the same time, I am more.
So what do you like first?
What do I like?
Yeah, what do you like first?
Probably
about now, the current time.
the current time.
Yeah.
So what I love about hardcore is, as I was saying earlier, when I'm having a really shitty day and I'm having everything is really shit and everything, like my job sucks and everything, I'm just miserable. If I have something to look forward to, I have a fest to look forward to, or if I have I know I'm going to see a new band, or I know as a band that I haven't seen before, like Speed. I've never seen Speed before. Zulu. I love Zulu. So I'm going to see Zulu in June, and I'm really, really excited about it. I love that I still have that. It still takes me away from real life, and that's what I love about hardcore. It makes me feel like I'm in a room and nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. And it's just
that.
But it's I still have that, and I think that's kind of, and I'll be honest, there are times where bands that I love, like Sub-Zero, I was like, oh, it's a Monday night and I'm at home working from home and I don't know if I can, and there was a train strike and I was like, I can't do it. Whereas 20 years ago, I'd be like, screw it. I want
Find a way, innit?
I really want to go see
Find a way.
Sub-Zero. But now I'm just like, no, I'm really sorry. That's not happening.
Can I ask a final question?
Oh, can I just finish about what I don't like?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Come on, mate. Let it go.
Yeah. So, what I don't like is that people seem to think now that people are their ego. That's pretty much it. The ego. There is a lot more ego now than in the years prior. There's a lot more ass kissing. There's a lot more, and it's just, I don't like it. Be nice. I know, and this whole thing where it's hardcore is a violent place, it needs to be violent if you don't like violence. I got really hurt at a hardcore festival, really hurt, to the point that if it had gone any other way, I could have died in my sleep. I got really hurt. So I literally am it doesn't have to be the most violent place. The whole thing about hardcore to me was always, it was controlled violence, and it seems to be people are trying to hurt other people now, and you don't have to be doing things to hurt people.
It's a fake release.
Yeah, it's
fake
not
release now.
And it's used to be, you go on mosh, and now it's now I'm worried for my life when I'm going into pits, because people are just not very, they just don't care. They want to be the toughest, or they want to be, and everyone keeps saying, it's always been like that. No, it hasn't. It definitely hasn't been like that. Billy Caliber, when Billy Caliber used to come shows and mosh, I would be terrified of Billy Caliber. Dutch Mark was one of the most violent moshers ever, right? But I knew that Dutch Mark wouldn't go out to hurt people. Whereas now it's let me try and hurt as many people as I can. Let me try and it's just, it's gotten, that's what I hate. That and ego.
I love Dutchie.
I love Dutchie.
I just have one request as well. To get us all back into hardcore, someone needs to do some kind of ruction all day, just for a little nostalgia.
Yes.
It's been too long.
There have been mutterings, but we'll see. We will see.
Get to work.
Can I ask one final question? So the way Ninjafest started is we'd go out for dinner and we'd say 5 dream bands. So if we were going to do Ninjafest again, May, what would be your 5 dream bands?
Right now, there's a band called Queensway from Baltimore, which I am
I'd love to see them.
Obsessed. Queensway from Baltimore. I would want Cold World again, because Cold World are just brilliant every time I see them. Want COA back as well. Stretch Armstrong. See, this is where I'm getting old. Stretch Armstrong, I really, really want to see again, because I kind of get them. Definitely. And who would my final band be? Are we talking everywhere? Of course, Knuckle Dust.
Oh, yeah.
No, you don't have to say that.
No, that's true. It's true. It's true. It has to be.
Rach?
Obviously, Wisdom in Chains would be my first one.
They always were.
Yeah. Who else? Knuckle Dust also. I would also really
you're
like.
playing twice, Wimmer.
I know, I appreciate it.
I end out because even though it is a bit weird to say, they are one of my favourite UK hardcore bands going.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You can cook me dinner tomorrow. And who else? I would probably want Black Friday 29 on, because I used to love those. And who else? Who'd my final one? That's a hard one. We have to come back. So you go, and I'll think about it.
See, I just so don't know. Maybe
you'd have Saxon, Judy
Watain.
No money, no money limit. Then
They'll do me favours. I think it would be mostly all reunions for me. Like I'd get Raise the Dead to come back coloured, and my favourite band, hardcore band, I saw As Friends of Us last year, the best. So I'd get them. I'm really into Fiddlehead. I know we couldn't afford them.
I was going to say this.
But yeah, it would be. I'd get Kanan to come back.
They were playing a while back, weren't they?
We played them in Leeds, didn't we?
Leeds, yeah.
Is it Rotten Hell? You'd have to get Rotten Hell now.
Oh no, and Down and Outs.
No, man.
My fifth would probably be Count Me Out or Underdog.
Oh, Count Me Out would be amazing.
Exactly.
Or Risk It as well. I get Risk It because I love Risk It. I really want.
Danke. Right, so that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Ninjafest. This was incredible. It was epic. So,
you guys are epic.
We appreciate it. Thank you for taking time out on this Saturday, because I know obviously we've got things going on, live, etc.
Bon Jovi,
sick of it all. Are they called Bon Jovi, or they're not called Con Jovi?
Bon Jovi UK.
No, they're called Bon Jovi UK. And I was talking about this with my cousin yesterday, and I always thought they should be. We were saying, why don't call themselves like Ron Jovi or like.
There is a Wrong Jovi.
Yeah.
Or
Con Jovi would be good.
Con Jovi's good.
Yeah.
Or just like John Bovey. I call myself that maybe.
Or By Jovi.
Yeah. I think that might have been 1 year ago.
Alright, last word. Every man for himself.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was fun.
Everyone but us. Straight from the heart of London.